The Galactic Council had always believed humans were the weakest species in the universe. Compared to other civilizations, they were young, fragile, and lacking in advanced technology. When the Accelarians set their eyes on Earth, they saw an easy conquest. The invasion came without warning. One moment, the night sky was clear. The next, thousands of Accelarian warships hovered above Earth, blocking out the sun. Their leader, Supreme Commander Vale, broadcasted a message across the planet. Surrender peacefully. You will not be harmed. Resist, and we will burn your world to the ground. The world watched in horror. Governments scrambled for a response, but communication lines were cut. Cities fell silent as the Accelarians deployed their ground forces. Towering creatures with thick armored skin and weapons far beyond human understanding marched through the streets. They expected surrender. Instead, they found resistance. The first mistake Accelarians had studied human history. They saw wars, conflicts, and destruction. But they misunderstood something crucial. Humans did not fight for conquest. They fought for survival. In the first few hours, major cities like New York, London, and Tokyo fell. The aliens believed the battle was over. But humans had not given up. They were simply learning, adapting, preparing. Armed with nothing but homemade explosives and hunting rifles, they managed to take down an entire squad. The footage spread across the world. Humanity saw that these invaders were not gods. They could bleed. They could die. And that changed everything. The war begins within days. Every major city became a battlefield. Civilians turned into soldiers overnight. Engineers modified old vehicles into makeshift tanks. Scientists repurposed existing technology to disrupt the enemy's advanced systems. Hackers infiltrated their communication networks, turning their own technology against them. The Accelarians, once so confident, were now struggling. They had superior weapons, but they did not understand human strategy. They expected order and structure. Instead, they faced chaos. Guerrilla warfare. Ambush tactics. Psychological warfare. They were fighting an enemy that refused to play by the rules. Then came humanity's greatest weapon, deception. The turning point, a scientist named Dr. Evelyn Carter discovered a flaw in Accelarian armor. It was resistant to energy-based attacks but vulnerable to extreme temperatures. Using this knowledge, resistance fighters developed powerful thermite weapons. The first large-scale human victory happened in Moscow. A battalion of Accelarian forces occupied the city, using the Kremlin as their command center. A small group of resistance fighters infiltrated the area, planting thermite charges throughout the base. When the signal was given, a wall of fire erupted, turning the enemy stronghold into a furnace. For the first time, the Accelarians retreated. Word spread. More cities fell back into human hands. The invaders, once unchallenged, now faced a nightmare they had never anticipated, an enemy that refused to break. The final stand desperate, Supreme Commander Vale ordered the unthinkable. He activated the Purifier, a planet-destroying weapon capable of turning Earth into a lifeless rock. The countdown began, but humans had one final trick. Using stolen Accelarian ships, a team of elite soldiers infiltrated the mothership. Among them was Captain James Hunter, a former astronaut turned resistance leader. Their mission? Stop the Purifier at any cost. Fighting through alien corridors, the team reached the control room. A brutal battle followed. One by one, they fell, but not before hacking into the system. With seconds left, Hunter overrode the Purifier's targeting sequence, redirecting it. Instead of Earth, the weapon now targeted the Accelarian homeworld. Vale watched in horror as his own planet burned. The aftermath, the Accelarians fled. The war was over. Earth was scarred, but humanity had survived. The last alien ships disappeared into the void. A final message was sent to the Galactic Council: never mistake kindness for weakness. The galaxy had underestimated humans. They would never make that mistake again. The Drovac fleet entered Earth's orbit, their silver ships reflecting the light of the sun. They had studied humanity from a distance and believed this planet would be an easy conquest. The humans were primitive, emotional, and weak. It was supposed to be a simple mission. They were wrong. The arrival commander Exeloth stood at the bridge of his warship, observing the planet below. Reports suggested that humans had no real defenses against advanced technology. Their weapons were crude, their armies divided, and their leaders driven by greed. "Prepare the landing squads," he ordered. "We will take the planet without resistance." The first wave of Drovak troops descended upon Earth, targeting major cities. They walked through streets expecting fear, submission, and immediate surrender. Instead, they were met with silence. The first mistake, the Drovak expected panic, but the humans did not run. They did not scream. They watched. Their eyes carried no fear, only patience. In New York, an alien patrol entered an abandoned skyscraper. It was empty. Moments later, the exits were sealed, and the entire structure exploded, collapsing in a fiery inferno. In Tokyo, drones carrying hidden explosives crashed into Drovak transports, taking out entire squadrons in seconds. In Moscow, a battalion of aliens marched into what appeared to be a defenseless military base. The moment they crossed the gates, underground missile silos opened, launching devastating strikes against the invaders. Humanity had been preparing. The trap. The Drovak High Command was confused. Why weren't the humans submitting? Why weren't they fleeing? The answer came too late. For centuries, humans had fought among themselves. They had developed tactics, weapons, and psychological warfare unlike anything in the universe. The moment the Drovak stepped foot on Earth, they stopped being conquerors. They became prey. Cities turned into battlegrounds. Every street, every alley, every abandoned building became a trap. The Drovak weren't fighting soldiers. They were fighting an entire species that refused to die. Commander Exeloth watched in horror as his forces crumbled. "This is not possible," he whispered. Then came the worst part. The counterattack. The Drovak had underestimated human ingenuity. With every battle, humans adapted, learning weaknesses in the alien armor, exploiting gaps in their formations. Weapons were stolen, technology reverse-engineered. Within days, human scientists had developed countermeasures to Drovak energy shields. Then, the resistance became the hunters. Captured alien ships were repurposed, launching surprise attacks against the fleet in orbit. Hackers infiltrated Drovak communication networks, spreading misinformation, turning squads against each other. In the forests of South America, elite human soldiers wiped out entire battalions using nothing but stealth and strategy. In the frozen wastelands of Antarctica, Drovak supply lines were cut, leaving thousands of troops stranded in a death trap of ice and hunger. Humanity was relentless. The Drovak commanders panicked. Their once mighty army was falling apart. What should have been an effortless conquest had turned into a nightmare. Reports flooded in from across the planet: ambushes, sabotage, entire bases going dark overnight. The Drovak had fought many species before. None had resisted like this. One by one, cities they had taken were reclaimed. One by one, their ships fell from the sky. Fear spread among the alien ranks. They had landed on this planet with confidence. Now, all they wanted was to escape. But Earth wasn't letting them go. The final blow: the last remnants of the Drovak fleet gathered above the planet, preparing for full retreat. But humanity had other plans. A final, coordinated strike hit the Drovak mothership. Hundreds of missiles, energy pulses, and hijacked alien warships attacked at once. Seleth barely had time to react before the flagship was engulfed in flames. The remaining Drovak ships fled, running as fast as their engines would take them. They left everything behind: weapons, soldiers, and broken pride. The last ship disappeared into the darkness of space. Humanity sent one final message to the fleeing invaders: welcome to Earth. Now run. The aftermath: the galaxy heard what happened. Other empires, once considering Earth as a target, changed their minds. Humans had been underestimated for too long. Now, they were feared. And they liked it that way. The Galactic Union always believed that humans were peaceful creatures. For decades, Earth had presented itself as a civilization of art, diplomacy, and cooperation. The aliens saw humans as weak, too soft for war, too divided to be a threat. They were wrong. The deception when humanity was invited to join the Galactic Union, they accepted humbly. They followed every law, obeyed every rule, and never questioned the decisions made by the more powerful species. Humans acted as diplomats, traders, and scientists. They stayed away from war and conflict. But deep inside, they were watching, learning, waiting. They demanded resources, labor, and technology, and humans complied. The Zorvax mistook patience for submission. Then they went too far. The breaking point on day, without warning, the Zorvax bombarded a human colony on Kepler 62f. Millions died within hours. The Union declared it a tragic misunderstanding. Earth said nothing. The Zorvax believed there would be no retaliation, no war, no resistance. They were wrong. The first strike attack came suddenly. A single night changed everything. Human fleets, long dismissed as inferior, launched a massive counterattack. The Zorvax military bases on the moon of Xyphos 3 were reduced to rubble in minutes. High-ranking officials were assassinated in their own chambers. Communication networks collapsed. It was precise. It was brutal. It was unstoppable. The Union finally saw humanity's true face. The war that shouldn't have happened, the Zorvax retaliated, expecting an easy victory. But humans fought differently. They did not follow the traditional rules of war. They used stealth, deception, and unpredictability. They hacked enemy systems, turning their own ships against them. They poisoned water supplies, sabotaged factories, and spread misinformation that sent entire fleets into ambushes. Every time the Zorvax thought they had won, they realized it was just another trap. The fall of the Zorvax within months, the once mighty Dominion was on its knees. Their leaders begged the Union for help, but the Union hesitated. Fear gripped the other empires. They had never seen the humans like this. They had always thought of them as peaceful. Now they saw the truth. The final battle took place on Zorvax Prime. A fleet of human warships entered the planet's orbit, broadcasting a single message: we were never weak. We were just waiting. Within hours, the Zorvax Dominion ceased to exist. The aftermath. The Union did not try to punish humanity. They did not demand explanations. They only watched in silence as Earth took its place among the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. The humans had pretended long enough. Now the universe knew what they truly were. The Galactic Empire had ruled for millennia, conquering and enslaving weaker species without resistance. They viewed themselves as the ultimate power in the universe, and when they found Earth, they saw nothing but another easy conquest. Humans were different. They did not roar in anger, did not threaten war. They simply listened, watched, and waited. The underestimation when the Empire's ambassador arrived on Earth, they expected immediate surrender. Humans, with their simple technology and divided nations, seemed unprepared for galactic warfare. The Supreme Chancellor of the Empire sent a message to Earth's leaders: submit, and you will be spared. The humans replied with a single word: no. Still, the Empire did not see them as a threat. They believed humans were weak because they were quiet. The Empire launched its invasion, expecting no real challenge. They were wrong. The first blow, the initial attacks, hit major cities: London, Beijing, Washington, Moscow. Fires burned, skyscrapers crumbled, and the Empire thought the war was over. But humans did not scream. They did not beg for mercy. They adapted. Within hours, counterattacks began. Entire squads of alien soldiers disappeared in the shadows. Military bases exploded overnight. The Empire's supply lines were cut, their ships hijacked by human hackers. The quiet ones had begun their hunt. The shift in power. The Empire had fought countless wars, but never like this. Humans did not meet them in open battle. They struck from the darkness, sabotaging ships, poisoning food supplies, using tactics the Empire had never encountered before. It was not war. It was extermination. Entire fleets vanished. Generals were assassinated in their sleep. The Empire's greatest warriors found themselves trapped in battles they could not understand. The humans once thought to be weak, had become the nightmare of the galaxy. The final stand, the Empire's leaders, desperate and terrified, gathered their remaining forces for one final stand above Earth. They brought their largest warships, their deadliest weapons, and every soldier they had left. And humanity was waiting for them. ASC, the Empire's fleet entered orbit, Earth's defenses activated. The planet, once considered defenseless, unleashed a barrage of weapons so powerful that even the most advanced ships fell like insects. The battle was over before it truly began. The last words the Supreme Chancellor heard before his ship was destroyed were broadcasted from Earth. "You thought silence meant weakness. You were wrong." The aftermath, the Galactic Empire ceased to exist that day. The surviving species of the galaxy learned a valuable lesson: never mistake the quiet ones for weaklings. Because when they finally speak, they do so in fire and destruction. For centuries, the Galactic Order believed humans were nothing more than an insignificant species, a collection of primitive creatures bound to their small blue planet. They watched Earth's wars, its chaos, its self-destruction, and saw weakness. They were wrong. The first mistake, when the Varak Dominion declared war on Earth, they did not expect a challenge. The Dominion had conquered thousands of worlds, wiping out resistance with ruthless efficiency. To them, humanity was just another obstacle in their path to total domination. Their first attack destroyed 3 human colonies. Millions perished. The Galactic Order watched in silence, waiting for Earth to surrender. Humanity did not surrender. Instead, they responded with fire. The awakening, the humans launched a counterattack that no one expected. The Varak fleet stationed on the moon of Xiphon 9 was obliterated in a single night. The space station orbiting Kepler 442b was turned to dust. The Dominion dismissed it as luck, a desperate attempt to fight back. Then their supply lines started collapsing. Their outposts fell silent. Their soldiers disappeared in the dead of space. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were hunting. The unseen word of Varak had always believed in overwhelming force. They expected direct battles, fleets clashing in open space. But humans didn't fight like that. They fought from the shadows. They hacked enemy systems, turning their own weapons against them. They poisoned atmosphere processors, rendering entire planets uninhabitable. They planted spies within the highest ranks of the Dominion, feeding false information, leading fleets into traps. The Dominion began losing warships faster than they could replace them. Entire battalions vanished without a trace. The galaxy, once certain of humanity's defeat, now watched in horror. The fire had been lit, and it was spreading. The fall of the Dominion within a year, the once mighty Varak Dominion, was crumbling. Their emperor, once so confident, now sent desperate pleas for help. But no one came. No one wanted to stand against the humans. The final battle was not a battle at all. It was a massacre. The human fleet surrounded the Varak homeworld, bombarding its surface relentlessly. Cities turned to ash. Oceans boiled. The sky burned red. And then, silence. The Dominion was no more. The message to the galaxy after the war? The Galactic Order called for negotiations, desperate to ensure peace with Earth. No one wished to test humanity's wrath again. In response, humanity sent only one message, broadcasted across every known system. You brought war to us. We brought fire to you. Next time, we bring extinction. The galaxy would never forget the day they learned the true nature of humankind. And they would never make the mistake of underestimating them again.